Hello everyone, welcome to Lessons with A and welcome to another lesson in our lessons made for A1 level learners. And in this lesson, we will be looking at the present simple tense focusing on the subject he, she, and it. Let's begin. To begin, what do we use the simple present tense for? We use the simple present tense to talk about things that always happen, fact, or things that are always true. So for something we do every day or for something that we know for a fact that it is always true, that is what we use the simple present tense for. And in this part of this lesson, we just be looking at the subject he, she, and it. Now before we dive deep into this, you have to remember that for the subject he, she, and it, we add an s or es to the base form of the verbs that we will use in the present or the simple present tense. Moving on, let's see how we can change the endings of verbs or how we can add s or es to the base form of verbs to give us the verbs in the present simple tense for he, she, and it. The first rule, add s to the verb if it ends with a consonant or an e. Examples, play, own, stay. With play, own, and stay, they all end with a consonant, and the consonant they end with are y for play, and for own, and for stay, y. So what do we do here? To get these verbs and change them into the present simple, we add an s to them just because they end with a consonant. So play becomes plays, own becomes owns, stay becomes stays. Now remember we also said if the verb ends with an e, we add an s to it. So tape, write, they end with e. So what do? We simply add an s to them. Tape becomes tapes, write becomes writes. And our last example, find, which ends with a consonant d, it becomes what? Finds. The next rule, add es to the verb if it ends with a vowel. Now, every verb that has a vowel as its ending, we add an es to that verb. Popular examples of these verbs all end with the vowel o. So what do when we come to a situation like this? What we have to do is we add es to the verb. So go, which ends with a vowel o, becomes goes with the es added to it. Do becomes does. Echo becomes echoes. Moving on, let's see the structure of the present simple tense in the positive form. In the positive form, we do the subject plus the base verb, and remember to add s or es to the verb depending on how it ends. Example, he eats breakfast. Our subject here is he, and then the verb, the base form of the verb will be eat. Then since it ended with the consonant t, we add an s to it and we got he eats breakfast. She goes to school. The base form of the verb here will be go, and since it ends with a vowel, we add es to it. Our subject is she. Combining them, we get she goes to school. It laughs happily. Our subject is it. The base form of the verb we used here is laugh. We add an s to it because it ends with a consonant h. We get laughs plus the rest of the sentence and we get it laughs happily. Now, in the negative way, we use the subject plus does not, which is the long form of doesn't, and the base verb. Remember, in the negative, we don't add an s or es to the base form of the verb. We just use it just as it is. What we do instead is we add doesn't or does not before the verb. We don't add an s or es to the verb, but before the verb, we add does not or doesn't. So subject plus does not or doesn't plus the base form of the verb without adding any s or es to it. Example, he does not see me. Here, our base form of the verb is see. Before it, we added does not, and then we have our subject, he. Same in the second example, she doesn't know the man. Our verb here is know, which is the base form. We are not doing anything to it, but instead Before this verb know, we added doesn't and our subject. She doesn't know the man, and it doesn't cry anymore. Moving on, we go to how do you ask questions with the simple present tense. Now the structure for asking questions is thus plus the subject plus the base form of the verb. Here too, we don't add any s or es to the base form of the verb. We use it just as it is, but instead we add does plus the subject before the verb. Example, does she go to school? The verb in this example is go. We are not doing anything to it. Adding no es, even though it ends with a vowel. Instead, we have our subject she, and then the sentence beginning with does, so that it becomes what? A question. So, does she go to school? Does he swim early? Does it know you? If you want to ask a negative question, all you have to do is add not. Does she not go to school? Does he not swim early? Does it not know you? So you add not before the verb. Now let's see in a tabular form the verb go and how it is with the positive, the negative, and in the question form. So he, with a positive form, remember it's only in the positive form that we add an s or es. So when we're not asking a question or when we're not saying a negative sentence, remember to add s or es to the end of the verb depending on the way it ends, whether with a vowel or a consonant. Here our verb is go, which ends with a vowel. So in the positive form, he becomes he goes, she goes. And in the negative, we have he does not go, she doesn't go. For our question, we have does he go, does she go. For it goes, it doesn't go, does it go. So remember, when we are not asking a question or asking or saying something negative in the simple present tense, the verb needs to change either by adding an s to it or an es. Apart from that, for the rest of the structures, we keep it, but instead we add does not or doesn't before the verb when it's negative, and then for a question, we add does plus the subject before the base form of the verb. This will be it for this lesson. Like, share, and subscribe for more videos. And if you need a grammar book that has been specially made to cater to everything you need in English grammar, find one in our description, and you can also book lessons in our same description. See you in the next lesson.